Awesome. Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I want to start off and tell you that I am deeply disappointed in our government agencies, as I normally am. It's amazing. It's completely amazing to me. Let me read to you information that I have gotten just a few minutes ago from a dear friend of mine that will tell you kind of how I feel. Something very strange is going on in California. Part of the Caltech site has been down since 8 a.m. 8 a.m. And it's still down. Even the USGS is not listing the quakes in the Anza Gap. Okay, by the Anza Gap, for those of you that are and can understand what I'm talking about, the Anza Gap is the northeast part of San Diego County that's known as the Anza Borrego Desert, Anza Borrego State Park. And Friday, they started getting hit by a 4.9, an alleged 4.9 magnitude earthquake. And I believe it was much stronger than that. I truly believe it was. And today, they have not been reporting many, if at all, earthquakes out of the Anza Gap area, Southern California. And that's what myself and many other people have been trying to find out, trying to find more information about what is going on. And as my friend says in this message that I got just a few minutes ago, I suspected there were tons of quakes hitting Anza in the last 24 hours. There's been 54 quakes in California, mostly in the Anza Gap, and some in Ridgecrest. Now, as she says here, I don't believe that was a 3.5 either. And I don't know where they put the 4.1. It's not showing anywhere. And that just happened in the last 2 days. The only place it's showing California earthquakes is Earthquake Tracker. Not even Volcano Discovery is showing earthquakes in California, except one. Mexico and Chile are getting really hit hard. Bam, 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 bam. Anyway, there are avalanches that have been hitting over in that same area of Idaho, over in the Chalice, Idaho area. in the exact same epicenter area. So we're going to be looking at that as well. But like I said, nobody's showing anything. Nobody wants to show anything. And that is appalling to me. That tells me that we're getting information we have always known. We've always known that they're hiding earthquakes. We know that without any doubt. They've been hiding earthquakes. Now, I am really bothered by the fact that they can't be truthful. And now they're not reporting. Of course. Of course. They don't want anybody to be suspicious of what is exactly happening. Now, I'm going to show you just briefly what I'm seeing from this USGS map here, okay? I am showing you here still earthquakes up here in Idaho that have been hit. Chalice, Idaho, we still have a pretty massive amount of aftershocks going on here in the western end of the Yellowstone magma chamber of Chalice, Idaho. A lot. We are showing a new earthquake that just hit over here in Aromas, California, just north of the San Francisco Bay Area. Over here, also in Northern California, Tom's Place, a 2.5 magnitude earthquake, approximately 9 miles west-southwest of Tom's Place. What is Tom's Place? That is Mammoth Mountain, folks. And that's not the only earthquake that's hit. It's not. Over in Cyril's Valley at 3.0. Okay, that's over by Ridgecrest. Over here along the San Andreas Fault, over by the, well, it's actually north of the Salton Sea in the Imperial Valley in California, east of San Diego. We're also showing a 2.7 magnitude earthquake over here in North San Diego, California, Camp Pendleton, 16 kilometers west of Camp Pendleton, California. Now, this earthquake, I'm going to enlarge the map here. I'm going to zoom in here. I want to show you where this earthquake is. This earthquake is offshore from San Diego, from Camp Pendleton. Camp Pendleton is right here, just north of Oceanside. Parts of Camp Pendleton are in Oceanside. I spent a great deal of time up at Camp Pendleton. But over here, just offshore, we have this earthquake today, a 2.7 magnitude quake. Now, we have seen earthquakes, 2 of them actually, just south of there, over here near La Jolla in the past few days. This is just one more earthquake just offshore. Now, we're watching this. We're heavily watching this. Ever since, excuse me, ever since that quake hit the Anza Gap, we've been getting these earthquakes, and they have come out in La Jolla. They've come out all over San Diego County, most of them North San Diego County. But we're watching to see what happens. We're watching this area very closely. Like my friend said, Caltech has been down, and they have not been reporting earthquakes as they normally have. Why? They don't want anybody to know. I believe the powers that be have told the geologists and the agencies not to tell us what's going on. That's the long and the short of it. The real truth is we've been having massive amounts of earthquakes. Okay, I am going to show you the EMSC map here. And I want to thank my friend for sending me this information. It's exactly what I pretty much have known. Because I've been trying, I think I've tried 4 times to bring up the Caltech information, and it's just not there. It's just not there. Try as we might. They just hide it. And they make no bones about it. I find it hard to understand why an agency won't tell you what is going on. And we have our ideas why, and I have not made any bones about it. Let's put it that way. I've not made any bones about it. I am tired of dealing with them, and I have not been kind with them, and I probably won't be. I just probably won't be. When I tried to get information from USGS, it's almost nothing, as you see on that, as you saw on that map that I showed you. It's literally nothing. But to say that I'm disappointed because I'm having to go to other routes to find information. Now, I shot off a memo to the EMSC people to thank them. I wanted them to know that we appreciated what they're doing, and let them know that we put them on the air every day, put their information on the air every day. And I got a note back from them, I guess it was Sunday night, last night, saying how grateful they were to get information from an agency that cares, that shows their agency's information. And that's impressive. That's impressive. Because to have your own country's agencies hiding information, not being forthcoming at all, not talking about it, it's aggravating, to say the least. Now, I'm going to show you this. This is the EMSC. Well, let me turn down the light on this. This is the EMSC information that we're getting from the San Diego County area in Southern California. Okay, it clearly shows the Anza Gap here, where we had or still have over 100 plus earthquakes here. Over on the North Shore, let me get my microphone a little bit out of the way. I keep bumping it, and I don't want to have it fall down. But we spoke about earthquakes off the North Shore of the Salton Sea a little while ago. This shows a 1.83 magnitude earthquake, slightly north and east of the Salton Sea. That's called North Shore, California. Now, over on the other side, over on the west side, about central part of the Salton Sea, we have a 1.33 magnitude earthquake in Salton City, California, right next to the Salton Sea. We don't see any earthquakes over here in the Imperial Valley, in the more populated part of the Imperial Valley, over in this area here, and Calipatria here, Nyland over here, this whole area. Brawley, Holtville, El Centro, nothing in there, not anything. I fully expected it to be full, and we may have had earthquakes, okay, even though I have not gotten any information from friends that live in Imperial Valley. I've got them in Holtville, I've got them in Brawley, I've got friends over at the Naval Air Station, El Centro, all over, but they haven't said anything about any earthquakes. And now the phone's probably going to ring. We've also had another 1.09 in Ocotillo Wells, which is Ocotillo Wells starts up at the pinnacle, the point of the top of the Chocolate Mountains, and then goes down into the Imperial Valley towards the Salton Sea. Ocotillo Wells right here. There's an earthquake of a 1.09 magnitude. Just west of there, northwest of there in Julian, which is the apple capital of San Diego, 1.34 over here in Julian. Right there, 1.34 in Julian, California. Beautiful forested area, love it over there. The best apple pies and cider that money can buy. And it's not that expensive, very inexpensive. But anyway, you see over 100 plus earthquakes here. What is USGS? Caltech. It's mind-boggling. Okay. 1.07 just north of that blob of 100 plus. Banning, California, 0.60. Cabazon, a 1.42. Okay. Let me pop that blob of 100 plus. I popped it. We've got a few more earthquakes out of there. I got quite a few more earthquakes, and I still have blobs here. You can tell what's going on. There's hundreds of earthquakes, hundreds of earthquakes. It says 100 plus. Folks, the data that I have coming out of California says that they've had close to 1,500 earthquakes since that 4.9 5.0 hit. 1,500 earthquakes, and yet they're only telling us right now about 100 plus. And that's the EMSC, okay? I'm not slamming the EMSC. We've had 1,500 plus earthquakes. Something definitely is going on, and they don't want us to know about it. It's deeply troubling that they don't want us to know about it. At the beginning of this earthquake, I told you that there's going to be a larger earthquake come out of this. I issued an advisory, an earthquake advisory for a very large destructive earthquake that will hit Southern California probably now within the next 7 days. And I'm staying by that. Now, if it happens the day after, my warning's still valid, or will have been still valid. But there's a reason, there's a reason that we have that many earthquakes. And we saw this same kind of issue happen before the July 4th earthquakes in the Ridgecrest area. We saw it happen. And now we're seeing massive amounts of earthquakes after what was supposed to be a relatively moderate quake. And yet we got reports out of there that said that it was felt over a wider area, and it felt stronger than even a large quake that they've had there. And these residents that live in this area that have contacted us, they have been in the area for quite some time. They have seen large 5.0 earthquakes, and even larger earthquakes than the 5.0, mid-range 5s, and even up into the 6 range over there in the Borrego Desert, Rancho Borrego Desert, Imperial Valley. We've had large earthquakes out there, a lot, but they're not talking about it. And that's fine and good because we're still getting information out of there. but even the residents are suspicious of what's happening. And now I've talked about it. They are probably going to call and knock our socks off when it comes to the telephone. Nothing surprises me. It really doesn't. Even the earthquakes, I hit that 100+ button, and you see what happened. Okay, just in the blobs right there, we have, well, see what just happened? Even the blobs right there tell us that there's a lot more than 100+. Okay, a lot more. And these, here's a 0.57, a 1.41. I'll go up here, 0.69. You know, it just, I don't know, it just blows my mind. Here's a 1.37 as well. Oh, darn it. Here's the 1.37 there. Now, we're going to let it go for right now. We've got bigger fish to fry, so to speak. I just want everybody to know that we're on top of this and we see what's going on. They can't hide the data from us forever. They really can't. It's something that when it happens and they haven't reported the information, it's only going to make them look bad. And quite honestly, when it's all said and done, the President of the United States is going to know what happened, because I'm going to make sure he knows. And I'm not the only one that's going to be doing it. It's something that I hate. I don't like liars. I never have. And it blows my mind. Anyway, up in the northern area, just north and east of the Anza Gap area, we have Big Bear Lake. Big Bear Lake had a 1.21 magnitude quake. Now, I love Big Bear. Skiing is awesome up there. Fishing is extraordinary. The crisp air in the summertime, the early morning hours of the summer out there before it gets deathly hot from out in the desert area. Big Bear's up in the mountains, but it'll still get pretty hot. But being out in that crisp, clean mountain air over in Big Bear, it's just fantastic. Beautiful sparkling waters of Big Bear Lake. It's really cool. But like I said, the one thing that bothers me is this 2.73 off the coast of Camp Pendleton. Okay, that tells me that there's bigger fish to fry out there and that there's going to be a larger earthquake. Now, I'm going to look, I've usually started these programs way down in the South Pacific, and there's a reason I'm holding off with that, because I've got more information about the South Pacific. But I'm starting this program off in Southern California. Okay, this is the Searles Valley Ridgecrest area. Okay, this is north of the Anza Gap out there, and we're seeing quite a few earthquakes even now. Remember when I showed you this yesterday? We only had a few earthquakes in this area. Now we see it's building up again. Where did that power and energy go? It went down to the Salton Sea, the Anza Gap. That's where that energy was and still is. And now we're seeing energy coming back into the Ridgecrest area. Are we going to have another larger earthquake? Probably. Probably. Here's Trona, California, checking in with a 1.24 magnitude quake in Trona. That's outside of the Ridgecrest, California area, but where most of the damage was in Trona, California. But it's an area where we see it happening. We have two earthquakes right here in Ridgecrest. Here's a 1.16, and in that area is a 1.11. Okay, Cyril's Valley. Look at this. Look at the swarm. And within the next day or so, the swarm's going to get even larger. The earthquake's closer together. And what do you think is going to happen? Hint. A teaser. Little Lake, California, where we've had swarms, and we still have swarms. And the swarming has been going on since last year, but now it's getting heavier. Okay. What did I tell you about the earthquakes building up? You see those earthquakes building up? There's another earthquake that's going to happen. Okay. Here's a 1.35 in Little Lake, California. That's just south of Cozo Junction. That's south of Cozo Junction. Lone Pine, California, today, 1.8. It's happening, folks. It's happening. Over here in Mammoth Lakes, okay, USGS is reporting one lone earthquake near Tom's Place. Tom's Place is just south of Mammoth Lake, just a little bit, just a little bit. But there's a lot more earthquakes than one earthquake in Mammoth Lakes. There's quite a few, quite a few. Now, while these are minor quakes, 0.6, 0.48, 0.12, minus 0.30, which means above sea level. Mammoth Mountain, again, a volcano that rises up out of the desert. There's a 0.36 at Mammoth. There are quite a few earthquakes over there. And it's building. It's building. Right now, we don't see much going on over here in Longs Valley, just east of Mammoth. But that's going to build too. Now, I believe I told you that last year, before the large earthquake smashed into Ridgecrest, actually the three, the 6.9, two 6.9s and 7.1. Before that, we saw large amounts of earthquakes that hit that area, and they increased, and they increased, and they increased. It was like 10,000 earthquakes every month. And then all of a sudden, those three quakes hit over in Ridgecrest. And we continued to see 10,000 a month building until September. And then that number of earthquakes shrank, where we only had maybe 50, 75 quakes. We still had a great number of quakes, but it wasn't the 10,000 number that we had had prior to that. Now, I'm going to leave this particular map right now. I'm going to go over to Volcano Discovery. Now, remember me telling you that Volcano Discovery was not reporting all the earthquakes in Southern California. Folks, it didn't quite hit 20,000 like I thought it might hit by April 1st. Since January 1, at 1 minute after midnight on January 1 this year, we've had 19,327 quakes. Right down here, 19,327 earthquakes being registered by Volcano Discovery. 19,327. I said that it would probably reach 20,000 by April 1st. I was slightly off. 19,327, that's pretty close. As I used to say when I worked for the government, that's close enough for government work. I was pretty close. They said 20,000, it's 19,327. To me, it's rather amazing that we see what's going on a regular basis. Last year, when I started this, April 3rd, we were seeing things building up. And I made comments about something going to happen. And then when April 3rd rolled around and I was on the air for many, many, many hours, I think 17 hours, I stayed on the air. It was quite an epic journey for me, because I had been listening to Dutch and many other people talk about earthquakes. And now all of a sudden I am reporting earthquakes and what is going on and why it happened. It was fun, it was interesting, it was entertaining, and more than anything, mind-boggling, because there's so much information, and I tend to want to know why things are happening. Why did it happen? And when is the next one going to happen? We said that there were more earthquakes that we're going to see in that area, and we're going to see all over the world, and that has happened too. We've seen more earthquakes, for example, out in the Philippines and Indonesia, and even over in Australia. All of that's happened ever since those earthquakes hit in July of last year. And now we're seeing it build again, even more so. Now, my question is going to be, is what is going to happen now? This was April, when those earthquakes before were building. They started building in April, 10,000 and another 10,000. And then in July, it blew up. April, May, June, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. July, it blew up. Let's watch and see what happens. I don't think it's going to be that long. I don't think it's going to be that long. But the Anza Gap, we're seeing more earthquakes in the Anza Gap so far in the last 4 days than we have seen even during the buildup of earthquakes that happened prior to the July 4th quake. So let's see what's going on. And let's also watch what's coming out of Alaska, between northern Alaska and southern California. We're seeing more and more earthquakes right now being reported in the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because we're expecting something much larger there as well. And they're hiding those facts. They've been hiding that for a long time as well. But let's watch and see. Let's watch and see how long it takes. Because I hope and pray, for everyone's sake, that it's not going to happen. I forecast it. Let's see where it goes. Okay. Now, like I said, there are other things that I want to talk about here. Where did that go to? Okay, I want to talk about that too. Okay, here it is. And by the way, for those of you that keep asking, I love the questions. Our granddaughter is growing by leaps and bounds, 18 months old, walking, running, starting to talk. She's saying words, and she's even saying, "Hi, Gamma. Hi, Gamma." but today she's giving her mother and grandmother run for their money. It's hilarious. Anyway, folks, I want to show you this because this is the next place I'm going to go, back down to the South Pacific, Southern Pacific Ocean. We're going to be talking about a large, powerful tropical cyclone that they've given the name of Harold. NASA finds heavy rainfall in powerful tropical cyclone Harold. This is today, April 6th. One of NASA's satellites that can measure the rate in which rainfall is occurring in storms that has passed over powerful tropical cyclone Harold just after it made landfall in Vanuatu in the Southern Pacific Ocean. Now, I'm not going to read the entire article, but we have this very powerful tropical cyclone, a hurricane, hitting Vanuatu today. This is a GPM satellite that provided this image here. And again, this is early this morning. It is raining inside of that blob of water here, 1.6 inches of rainfall an hour, 1.8 inches at the time this picture was transmitted by the satellite. Okay, near the eye, the rate of some areas also exceeded 1.6 inches. Okay, tropical cyclone Harold developed from a low pressure system that was observed to the east of Papua New Guinea last week and has tracked to the southeast, where it has caused additional flooding and loss of life in the Solomon Islands. Now, this is a Category 4 cyclone, the most powerful yet of 2020. Harold made landfall in the South Pacific nation of Vanuatu today, not long before the Global Precipitation Measurement Mission at GPM satellite passed overhead. GPM's dual frequency precipitation radar and microwave imager data provided data in rainfall rates. The highest rates were in the rain band to the southeast of the eye. Rain band to the southeast of the eye down here that you see here, where my cursor is. Okay. That was 1.8 inches an hour and even greater. And near the eye of the cyclone here, the eye of the hurricane, the cyclone is basically a hurricane. Depending on what part of the ocean it's in, they call it a cyclone or typhoon. In this case, 1.8 inches or greater near the eye of the hurricane. Okay, it's quite telling what's going on. Now, I wish we could enlarge this so you can see the eye of the hurricane. I went to another image earlier and it's no longer there, but you can see the rotational bands here at the eye of the hurricane, the eye of the cyclone. The Vanuatu Meteorological Service posted tropical cyclone warning 27 for the Sama, Panama, Molampa, and Shefa provinces at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is 11 p.m. Tonight, their time. VMS noted that severe tropical cyclone Harold was located at a latitude of 16.0 degrees south, longitude 168.8 degrees east, about 80 kilometers, 50 miles east, northeast of Ambrin, 65 miles northeast of Epi. Severe tropical Harold has been moving at an southeasterly direction at 19 kilometers per hour, 10 knots, which is 12 miles per hour. In the past 3 hours, maximum sustained winds close to the eye, close to the center, were estimated at 230 kilometers per hour, which is 143 miles per hour. That's a very powerful storm. Now, this storm is going to be hitting the islands of Fiji before the end of the week. Right now, it's still west of Fiji, over in Vanuatu. By the end of the week, Fiji is also going to get hit. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the USGS map. Okay, I just switched maps for you. Okay, we're going down here to the South Pacific. This is Tonga. Fiji is right here, and Vanuatu is over here. Right now, we have a very large earthquake, not very large. We have a large earthquake, a 5.0 magnitude earthquake over here in the Solomon Islands, a very wet Solomon Islands. Now, this is where they had heavy rainfall, and they've also suffered loss of life. And now this earthquake hit west-northwest of Kira Solomon Islands. Okay. Now, while it hit in the open ocean, there's probably very little, if any, damage from this hurricane. I'm going to ignore that phone call because it's from a San Diego telephone number, and I've had about 10 weird telephone or weird calls from San Diego today, and none of them. This one was a name that I don't recognize, and most of them are Hispanic names, and I just don't recognize them. I don't answer the calls. But anyway, here in the Solomon Islands near Kira, we had this 5.0 large earthquake. Over here in Tonga, Vani, Tonga, we had another 5.0. Now this cyclone over here in Vanuatu is going to reach over here to Fiji by the end of the week. And then the outer rain bands, the eastern rain bands, are going to hit Tonga. And that's still going to hit Tonga. It's going to hit Fiji. It's going to hit Tonga. Now, the eye of the storm will probably pass to the north of Tonga, but Tonga is going to be hit by some of those powerful rain bands coming over here. We're going to keep track of this storm for you as it moves. Okay. One of the other large earthquakes hit over here in Sinabang, Indonesia. Now, this is over near northern Sumatra. Okay, this is over here near northern Sumatra. Now, there is a volcano. The Sinabang volcano is over here as well. Now, Sinabang has not erupted since last year. And I have a feeling we're going to hear about the Sinabang volcano very shortly. Very shortly. But today we have a 5.0 magnitude earthquake off the west-northwest coast of Sinabang, Indonesia. Okay. Now, USGS is not reporting but one moderate earthquake of 4.8 over here near Kota Ternate, Indonesia. Now, we had a large earthquake over here near Kota Ternate, Indonesia, just a few days ago. So this is actually an aftershock, but they're still not showing all the rest of these earthquakes here. And we're going to go back to the EMSC and show you that in just a few minutes here. I'm sorry, I went too far out. And it took us up way, way north. Okay. We told you about this 5.0. Let's go over to Japan. Again, we're not seeing all the earthquakes. We will in just a minute. Miyako, Japan, over here off of Honshu Island, Japan, was a 4.2 moderate quake. Over here off the eastern shore of Kamchatka Peninsula, we've seen another 4.3 magnitude quake. And where is it? Right at the westernmost point of the Aleutian Islands. Now, over here in the Aleutian Islands, we have seen a quake, okay? This is a 4.2. It's not the only one here. They're only showing this one, and they're not showing the other smaller quakes over here near Amatinak Island. Near Amatinak Island. This is 56 kilometers west-southwest of Amatinak Island. You can see where this earthquake is. We have a volcano here, we have a volcano here, we have a volcano here. Now, these other smaller islands, we do have a volcano here but it's just literally a surface volcano. This whole Aleutian Island chain is a volcanic area, okay? But this one is west-southwest of Amitinak Island. I wanted to show you that, okay? So that's what's going on there. While we're still down here though, let's go back here to the South Pacific Ocean of Chile. USGS is telling us about a 4.0 magnitude earthquake over here in northern Chile. That's all fine and good. Antofagasta, Chile has been having these quite frequently. Over here, just south of that, they're also telling us about this moderate 4.3 in Coquimbo, near Coquimbo, Chile, 63 kilometers northwest of Coquimbo. Now, I'm going to go here. If it's going to let me, I'm hoping it will. I want to show you where these earthquakes really are, okay? This one is offshore from Coquimbo, 4.3 there. This is right literally on the coast of Antofagasta, Chile. Okay, see where it is? It's literally right on the coast. Whereas the Coquimbo, Chile quake is a little bit further off the coast, as you can see there. Okay, but this is not the only, these are not the only earthquakes that have hit this area. There's quite a few more. Let's go back to the EMSC, application, because then you're going to see what we're talking about. Central America got hit, and so did South America. Okay, there's 5 more quakes here. There's 5 more quakes. And I wish that they would tell the whole story. Because with these quakes, you can learn a lot about exactly what is going on. This is that quake down in Coquimbo. Okay, going north. Going north. Here's that 4.0 down in Antofagasta, Chile. Antofagasta, Chile. Okay. Then let's go over to the Argentine-Chilean border that they didn't tell us about. Why not? I'd really like to have them answer. This is a 3.4 magnitude quake. USGS reports 3.4s, but why aren't they here? This is the border of Chile and Argentina. Jujuy, Argentina. This, like I said, is a 3.4 near Jujuy. I don't know why I have a hard time with it. Jujuy, Argentina, a 3.4, right at the border of Chile and Argentina. Going back to the northwest, again along the coast, we have a 3.0 magnitude quake. Where is it? It's over at the southern coast of Peru. This is a 3.0 magnitude earthquake there. Let's go further north over towards Arequipa, Peru. This one is in Arica Parinacota, Arica Parinacota, Chile. Well, that other one wasn't in Peru. I'm sorry, I misspoke. That was a 3.0 over in northern Chile, and this one's even further north here. It's 3.0 earthquake near Arequipa, Parinacota, Chile, a 3.0. For some reason, I thought that was Peru. My bad. All right. So we didn't have any earthquakes at all in Peru or in Ecuador. That's fascinating because we have some volcanoes to report to you about. However, let's go up to Colombia. we have some earthquakes in Colombia. We have a 2.1 on the south. Going north from there, we have a 2.1. Going north from there, we have a 2.2. And the northernmost point is another 2.1. So we start down here, 2.1, 2.1, 2.2, another 2.1 here. Look at how these earthquakes are in alignment here. They're in alignment. Okay, what do we see? We see a craton going up here, and this one starts at the craton. This one is over near River Valley, and this one is on the other side. Okay, it's on the other side. Okay, that'll give you an idea of what happened here. On one ridge here, we have a 2.2, a 2.1 down here in this valley. Okay, then on the other side, we have another one here. Interesting, huh? I thought you'd like that. Earthquake on either side of the ridge, and then down in the valley, the other earthquake. Just wanted to show you that. It's fascinating. It really is. Anyway, let's go over to Costa Rica. Off the southwestern coast of Costa Rica, we had a 4.7 today. 4.7 southwest, off the southwest coast of Costa Rica. Then over here on the earthquake fault, northern Costa Rica, we have a 3.3. North of there, over near this one, it's not too far. I believe this is Nicaragua. We have a 3.5. It doesn't show countries here, and I don't know quite why. Frente a la costa de Usulután. Frente a la costa de Usulután. I believe that's off the coast of Nicaragua. Okay, a 3.5 there. Now let's go over towards Mexico, southern Mexico. See this 4? Now it's right on the coast of southern Mexico there, right along the coast. But look at all this other swarm. These swarms have been building up all weekend long. Now I've showed you swarms as they've been building, but this one is building up. Over on the northern part, the northeastern part of southern Mexico, this one is a 3.5? Yeah, 3.5 there. These are building, folks. 3.9 in the central part, just south of there, a 3.6. And then you come down to the coast again, and you have a 3.8. This area is building. And it's my assertion that we're probably going to see this build into another 5.0 in southern Mexico. Okay, down here further north, we have 3.4s, 3.5s as we're going north here. This one is out in the water just off the coast, just east of the San Andreas Fault. Remember that? San Andreas goes all the way down southern Mexican coast. Yep. We have more earthquakes. More earthquakes. 3.8s. They keep going all the way up the coast. They keep going, going, Just like the Energizer Bunny, it goes and it goes and it goes. But what I want to show you here, this one is near the coast of Acapulco, just off the coast. This is a 4.0. Acapulco is over in here, 4.0. And you can see, you can actually see the undersea trench there, right beside the fault. Right beside the fault. And we see the earthquakes further north, Puerto Vallarta area. Okay, 3.4, 3.6, and then a 3.5. A series of threes right there near Puerto Vallarta. And then we go over to the Gulf of California. We don't see anything more. Okay, I fully expect to see some 3s and 4s here in the northern part of the Gulf of California here. Why? Because we're seeing that huge buildup of energy over in the Anza Gap. When it first hit, we saw 2 mid-range 3s. Well, actually, I believe it was a 3.9 and a mid-range 3 just south of the Gulf, the mouth of the Gulf there, or the end of the Gulf anyway, whatever, the northern side of the Gulf of California. But you can see it, and you can see all of this building. See now where it says 200 plus earthquakes, Southern California? You can see what I'm talking about. You can see what I'm talking about. Before we continue to go over to the United States, I want to first, we skipped over, we went to Tonga and we skipped over New Zealand. New Zealand has had their hands full today, both on the North and the South Island. Over just north of the Kermadec Islands, we had a 4.1. South of there, 3.61, 2.79. As it got closer to the northern part of the North Island, we had a 3.01. Continuing south, and now we're at the shore. We're at the shore of northern New Zealand in the Bay of Plenty. The Bay of Plenty. We have a 2.24 and a 2.22 right at the Bay of Plenty. And just offshore here, just offshore in the Bay of Plenty, what do we have out here? White Island. And we're not hearing much about it. That's because things have calmed down. Now it built up, exploded, came back down a little bit, and then they thought that it would go back up, and it hasn't. It has kind of settled in. Let's see what happens in the near future. In the near future. I wanted to point these out as long as we're zoomed in. You can see these earthquakes going up through the Kermadecs. You see that? Now these are just 3s. These are just 3s. A low 3 up to a mid-range 3 with these two, going up around the Kermadec Islands. Let's watch and see what happens there. And again, north of the Kermadec Islands here, we have a 4.1. 4.1 there. Okay. Then, like I said, you can see these other earthquakes. Most of them are on the North Island. And then we have one down here on the South Island, and that was a 2.76. A 2.76. We talked about what happened over in the in Indonesia. Okay. We showed you this. Again, USGS is not telling you the story. They're not telling you the story of the subduction that's going on in Indonesia. It's one of the biggest subduction areas of the earth. And yet they're not telling this story. If you tell this story, you have to tell the story of the Cascadia subduction zone as well. They go together. Subduction is subduction is subduction. Yes, there are 7 plates here that are moving. 7 plates that are moving there. But you have to tell the story. You have to show what's going on. You can't ignore it, is what I'm saying. You really can't. You've got to tell the story. Now let's go over to south of there, over to northwestern Australia. Northwestern Australia, we had a 2.40 earthquake today. Now this is just barely off the coast. It's right there on the coast area of northwestern New Zealand. Let me zoom in, I'll show you. It's right there. We have seen energy building up. Let me pull out here. In recent days, in the last week and a half, we've seen energy building up here in southwestern Australia and moving. We've seen it happen. And now up here in northwestern Australia, what do we have? A 2.4. The others were 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. Now 2.4 here. Let's see what happens. Now this is a fairly uninhabited area. Okay, it's a fairly uninhabited area. It's at the northwestern craton. You can see it coming up here. It's at the northwestern craton. Now there is a small town here, and I believe it supports what I'm going to show you. What do you think that is? We have a bunch of turbines, don't we? Okay, we have a bunch of turbines. But that's only part of the story. It's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Up here, we have an HAARP, HAARP. Sorry about that. No, I'm not coming down with anything, just allergies. But we have an HAARP facility. I wanted to show you that. Why? Because that is one of the facilities that got that earthquake over in Puerto Rico going. Remember that we reported that the facility over in Russia, Australia, and over in Norway, the three HAARP facilities blasted the energy that resulted in the Puerto Rican earthquakes. And then they hit Siberia the same way, an 8.0 there. Fascinating, huh? That's where that is. That's where that is, northwestern Australia. I thought you'd like to see that. There was one other place that I was going to show you over there. It's a geological feature that I like, and I don't see what I'm looking for. Here it is. Fun, huh? A big lake at the top of a crater. A big lake at the top of a crater. Fascinating, huh? They don't usually talk about that. When I first saw that a while back, I'm going, now that's cool. You don't see too many lakes at the top of a crater. We've got a few. Mona Lake, just north of Mammoth. We got one there. There are a few things going on, but I like geological features. And so when I point them out, I think it's fun. I think it's fun. It's more than normal stuff, okay? It's more than normal. It makes everything fun. It really, to me, it makes a lot of sense and a lot of fun. In order to completely understand an area, I like to show stuff like that, because then you see what's going on. But that's over in Northwestern Australia too. Anyway, getting back to geology here, we have a lot of earthquakes over here in the southern part of Indonesia. Sayu, S-A-Y-U-C, S-E-A, it's an ocean, 3.7 here. We have 2.8s in the Bali Sea, just north of Bali, Indonesia. That area has gotten hit quite a bit lately, Bali, Indonesia. Southern Java, 3.0. But central Indonesia is literally all over the place. You can see it, 2.6s, 2.6s, 3.9s, 2.8s. It's all over. And yet the agency here does not want us to see it. These areas, these plates are subducting. That's why it's building. We have people in Indonesia that pay attention to us here, and they've asked me repeatedly, why are we getting hit with these earthquakes? It's one plate subducting under another and another and another. It's a great subduction area going on in the earth. Yet we have a very large subduction area going along the Pacific Northwest, and nobody wants to talk about it because we're going to have a large earthquake, and they don't want to talk about it because somebody's going to get hurt. Now, wouldn't it make sense that if you knew something was going to happen, that you'd want to talk about it? You'd want to prevent people from getting hurt. You'd want them to move away from the coast, move east, out of that way. That's not what's happening there. It's not what's happening there. Okay, we talked about that 5.0 over in North Java, just off the coast there, 5.0 there. And we have other quakes there, south of there, a 3.1. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the location, 3.1. Here's another 3.1 at Gumpang, G-O-M-P-A-N-G, Gumpang. Okay, that's almost the same latitude of where that 5.0 is. And just north of the 5.0 there in northern Sumatra, we have a 3.8. Okay, now you understand. We have smaller earthquakes around the larger earthquake. We have aftershocks around it. And we do get foreshocks. Okay, let me preface this. We do have foreshocks as well. Over in near Phnom Penh, Cambodia, a 1.6 there, just north of there. In Burma, Myanmar, Burma, we have a 1.7 here. Then we go up into China, near the border with India, we have a 2.5 border region with China and India here. Going west, a 4.3. And look at it, it's the earthquake fault. It's that craton moving northwest. Okay. Down here in the northwestern part of India, we also have a 2.2 there. But for the most part, you see these earthquakes along the craton edge. The earthquake faults are moving here. That's what's going on. When we go over to northern Iran, we've got 2.8 activity, 2.8 there. 2.8s there, northern Iran. Then we go over to Russia, the Chechnya Republic of Russia. We have a 3.4 on the western shore of the Caspian Sea, Chechnya. Then over in Turkey, eastern Turkey, 2.8s, 2.3s, 2.1s. We've got quite a few earthquakes there in western Turkey. Okay, what do we have here? Albania is getting hit. Albania. Now, I'm going to come back here and talk about Greece too, but Albania appears getting hit now. We also have more earthquake activity north of there. In Serbia, there is a 2.3 in Serbia. Now look at how the craton bends here. It goes up and bends over and goes west. And look where it goes here. It should be interesting to find out where that earthquake activity is going to go, because it's going to go north. It's going to go north and west. And then way up here on the western side, Poland, we have a 2.6. Poland, the craton bent, and north of there we have that earthquake up here in Poland, a 2.6 in Poland. Now this is fascinating. I love this. Now you guys might think, oh, Ron's talking again. Ron's talking again. But we see what's going on. Greece, and then it comes up around. Greece, and it comes up and around. Okay, let's go back down to Greece real quick. What do we have down here? Patras. All those earthquakes hitting around Patras. Okay. The Aegean Sea area. 1.3s, 1.5s, 1.3s, 1.9s. That's what's going on. That's been going on for quite some time in this area around Patras here, the Aegean Sea. Over on the other side by the fault, again, we have 1.4, 1.4. This is almost always ongoing around the Aegean Sea and Patras area. It just is happening that way. Okay, we don't usually see large earthquake activity there. We have anywhere from say 5 to 10 to 15 earthquakes in and around this same area. Okay, south of there, southwest of there, Androvida, 1.8 and 1.8. Okay, two 1.8s right next to each other. And then south of there, in Greece, we have a 3.0. Now that's a lone 3.0 over on the western side of Greece. Not a lot of activity, not a lot of hot activity. Usually this area, folks, we have a ton of ones in this area, but now we have a 3 over on the western side. Interesting. So not a ton of activity down there. Before we leave Greece, let's go over here to the western side of Crete. We did have a couple there. We have a 3.3 and another 3.3. Okay, we've been hearing a lot about 2.2s, 2.0s right together. Again, this is 2 3s over on the western side of Crete. Fascinating, huh? There's Crete. This is just offshore, just on the western side of Crete there. But you see where it's at? It's on the fault. It's on the fault. We shall see where that takes us, because the earthquake fault continues to go west, but what is happening? It's going north as well. Let's continue to watch to see what happens in the coming days. Does that energy continue to go up the fault and around? Let's find out. Because it goes over towards Sicily and Italy. Now over here just south of Sicily, along the fault, we have a 2.9. We have those 3s coming over from Greece. Those two 3s right here, they're coming up from Greece. Let's see what happens over here. Okay, like I said, south of Sicily, we have that 2.9. Then we go over here to the central part of Italy, Marcia, Italy, a 2.2. Now you can see these other earthquakes that have been building. We haven't had much activity here, right? No, we haven't had much activity. Occasionally 1 or 2 earthquakes. Now it's building again. Now it's building again. Up here near Slovenia, we had a 1.9 here. Let's go over to the north part of Italy, Emilia Romagna. And I know I'm butchering it. I always do. Sugramaro, Emilia Romagna. We have a 2.0. Now this area continues to get hit by 2s. The same area, almost day after day, Emilia Romagna here gets hit by 2s. Going north, Switzerland. Now this is interesting. Again, we have earthquakes building, seismic activity is building, and it's going into Switzerland up the Alps. 1.3, a 0.7. Then going north, over to Germany, we have a 2.5 up into the Alps here. Up into the Alps. Remember, we haven't had many earthquakes at all over in France, okay? But here we go, over here along the border area of France and Spain here. What do we have? These are 1.5s and 1.5s at the border of Spain and France. 2 earthquakes, the same size earthquakes, 2s and 3s. Portugal, at the Spain-Portugal border. Here's a 1.7. Right there, Spain-Portugal border, here on the north side. Coming down here to the south of Spain, what do we have here? Golfo de Cadiz, just right on the edge, the southern edge of Spain, Golfo Cadiz. We have a 1.8 here. Oh, I got it, went away. 1.8. What else is going up here as it moves east here? 1.6. There's 1.6, a 1.7, and going up here north on the eastern edge, a 1.7. We have a series of 1s right here. 1.6, 1.7, 1.7. Right over here, okay, just across in Algeria, we have a 2.5. And where is that? It's right on another earthquake fault. Another earthquake fault, okay? Over near Gibraltar, nothing. We don't have anything until we get down to the Canary Islands. Over here in the Canary Islands, we have a 1.8. 1.8. Now, is this earthquake energy? We see 2s and 3s groups together. Let's see where that energy comes as it moves west. As it moves west. So let's watch it as it moves. Okay. I think we're going to see some interesting things happen. Okay. I think we're going to see some interesting things happen. Okay. Just before we go over into the regular part of the United States. Saturday, I spoke with our buddy Dominic over there. We're still seeing a large group of activity, large swarm of earthquakes down there in the southwestern part of Puerto Rico. I will be talking to Dominic in the morning, and we're going to see what's going on. Dominic has a story to tell, folks. And I've got part of the story, and I told you a little bit. I told you a little tiny bit on Saturday after I talked to him. We're going to talk to him again. Going to talk to him again. He has a story to tell, and I want him to tell it. I want him to tell it. Now these are 1s and 2s and 3s over here. Just 1s and 2s and 3s. But they continue to shake, rattle, and roll. And I'm telling you, it's not a song, and it's not by Elvis or anybody else. Okay, 2s and 3s throughout this entire area. We had one lone earthquake over in the Dominican Republic, the South Central Dominican Republic. We had a 2.7 there. Not much going on. It's all going on over in Puerto Rico. That's what's happening. Now, the United States, before we go over into the Pacific Northwest, I want to show you this. This is important. This is important. Remember, I told you about the progression of earthquakes and how we had movement going east. Okay. Springfield, Colorado at 2.7. Going east. Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Now in Kingfisher, Oklahoma last year, we had a bunch of 4s. Kingfisher, Oklahoma, we had a 1.45. East of there, Owasso, Oklahoma, we have a 1.55. We're continuing east. Pocahontas, Arkansas, at the north end of the New Madrid Fault. We have a 2.46. See how the New Madrid Fault comes up? North end, Pocahontas, Arkansas, 2.46. Progression of quakes. Tellico Plains, Tennessee. We have a 2.37. A 2.37. Wait till you see what I'm going to show you. Come on, pictures. There we go. All right, let's see. All right. I hope this is interesting, guys. These quakes going across the United States, right? Going across the central United States. Okay. Now I'm showing you here in Colorado, the craton. Okay. It dips down here. The deformed part of the craton comes right here through Colorado. Where do we have that earthquake? Colorado. We have them in Oklahoma. Going over to Arkansas, where the north part of the New Madrid Fault. Then straight over here to Tennessee. Do you see the complete progression of the earthquakes as they move east? It's right in a line. It's right in a line, folks. The progression of quakes right in a line through the craton. We don't dip into Texas and have earthquakes down there, but it goes Colorado, Oklahoma, Arkansas, over to Tennessee. Now, it did not go north. We don't have any earthquakes going north yet. We don't have any earthquakes going north here yet, here along the eastern seaboard, the eastern part of the craton yet. But it's fascinating to see the progression of quakes through the country, starting over here in Colorado. Okay, you don't usually see this. Come on, I'm trying to bring this up. Here we go. Pritchett, Colorado, 2.7s, and then it goes east. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Okay, first off, let's go over here to the Pacific Northwest. We've already talked about earthquakes in Southern California. We will go back down to Southern California in a few minutes. Here's Alaska. Here's Alaska. It's building all around the southern part of Alaska here. Okay. Let me open this up a little bit. We don't have anything but one lone earthquake southeast of Redoubt, and it's a 1.4 southeast of Redoubt. Then the earthquakes stretch up north of Anchorage. This is actually in McKenzie, or Point McKenzie in Alaska. We have a 2.2. Okay, 2.2, 1.2, 1.3. Okay, but we have this whole bunch of earthquakes, swarms of earthquakes. And up here in Denali, one on the north, one on the south. North and south end of Denali, not much going on, huh? Now, we don't have but one lone earthquake above the Arctic Circle. Katavik, Alaska, 68 miles south-southwest of Katavik. We have a 2.9. 2.9. And yet the swarm is down here in southern Alaska down here. The Arctic Circle here, 2.9 up here in Katavik. That's what's going on. Oh, there's one earthquake I forgot to tell you about. We told you about that one over near Amatanak Island in the Aleutian Islands. Then over here, just north of Shishaldin volcano near Cold Bay, Cold Bay, Alaska, we have a 1.6. Again, that's in the ocean out there. 1.6 out there. Over here to the Pacific Northwest. Okay, Monroe, Washington, 1.77. South of there, Duval, Washington, a 2.0. This is the Puget Sound area, just south of the Puget Sound. Okay, one more there, Home, Washington, a 1.09. This is minor, folks. This is so minor, it's not funny. And I don't know why. Because all of a sudden, the earthquakes that have been hitting the volcanoes stopped. They stopped. Then we go down to Molalla, Oregon. We have a 2.35 in Molalla, Oregon. But the Pacific Northwest around the volcanoes suddenly went away. They've been getting hit constantly, day after day after day. And we've seen the subsequent steaming of Rainier, of Mount St. Helens, and Mount Baker. All of them. All of them there. Okay, let's go down to Northern California, over to Triple Junction area. Cascadia subduction zone, the Gorda Escarpment, and the northern part of the San Andreas Fault. We have a 2.33 there today, off the coast of Petrolia, California, at the Triple Junction. Okay, 2.33, and just northeast of there, Pine Hills, California, 1.88. Now straight east, what is going on over there? This is Mineral, California, folks. Mineral, California, straight east. Straight east from the other earthquakes near Petrolia, California. Okay. Mineral, California, 0.66, a 1.06, and a 0.20. These are at the eastern end of the Mendocino Ridge. 3 minor quakes at the eastern end, directly east of Petrolia, the Triple Junction area. Let's watch and see what happens in the coming days. I'm going to be interested in finding out, quite honestly, because we keep seeing the building going on. Carson City, California. We see earthquakes. Incline Village, Reno, Nevada area, Incline Village, 0.6, minus 0.2 up inside the mountain there. Right there, 0.02, minus 0.02, up above sea level. Okay, it's up in the mountain there. Incline Village here. Minus 0.1 in the mountain there. 0.3, 0.6 Incline Village, just outside of Reno. Just outside of Reno. But it's rocking. Okay. Incline Village, Lake Tahoe. Carson City is moving. Minor quakes in Carson City, quite a few of them. Just minor quakes there. 0.1, 0.1, 0.00. Interesting, huh? All right. We talked about Mammoth already. Remember the geysers, that man-made geothermal power plant there? We drilled into the earth and the crust to pull steam out of the Clear Lake volcano to power turbines, to generate electricity for 4 different electric companies, 20 plus earthquakes there. Is that going to build up? Last year we saw it build up right before that major quake. Let's see what happens this time. South of there, Sunol, California, a 1.41, and then going down to San Andreas, Aramo, California, 2.84 we told you about. That's the only one they reported down there. Hollister, California, 0.87. Oh, darn it. Hollister, 0.87. South of there, also on the fault, San Juan Bautista, just west of Monterey Bay. This is in Monterey. This is Monterey Bay here. Just east of Monterey Bay here. I think I said west, just east. Okay. Over here in Coalinga, California, 1.37. Parkfield, California, 1.07. Parkfield, California is earthquake capital of California. Wonderful place. Check it out on the internet. Maybe one day we'll have to take a trip through Parkfield, California, and I'll show you the pictures of the fault. There's a 0.25 also in Parkfield. All right. Off the coast from there, Lopez Point. This is off the coast, 1.93 in the water. 1.93 right here near Lopez Point. Okay, and then we get into our earthquakes over here in the Mojave Desert. Okay, Mojave Desert. All right. All right. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. Again, Little Lake, California. I showed you these a little bit earlier. The swarms going all the way up there. And today, nothing up in Cozo Junction up here. Not a thing near Cozo Junction. That's a first. We've always had earthquakes at Cozo Junction. And today, nothing. Again, why has that happened? Can you say Anza Gap? That's why. All that energy has gone south, but we see it building again, don't we? It'll return, it'll come back. It will come back. Okay. Then we go back to Southern California again. It's moving. It's moving. Let's go over to Milford, Utah, central Utah. We have 2 earthquakes, central Utah, around the Black Rock Desert volcano. Up inside the volcano, up inside the earth above sea level, we have a minus 0.20 earthquake, Milford, Utah. 10 miles east-northeast of Milford, and another minus 0.22, and a minus 0.20, right next to each other. Do you see any correlation? Earthquakes right next to each other, hitting almost or exact the same earthquake, same size earthquake, hitting right next to each other? Interesting, huh? Then we go up to Salt Lake City, Utah, Idag. Salt Lake City, Utah today. Right on the southeastern shore of the Great Salt Lake. Magna, Utah, we have a 0.44 earthquake right there. Again, the epicenter of the quake has the most quakes, the most aftershocks here. There we go. Aftershock after aftershock. It continues to rock. Okay. Now, since when we get a 5.7, yes, we see aftershocks, but it continues, and it's continuing day after day, about the same number of earthquakes. About the same number of earthquakes. 0.47, 1.04, minus 0.38. It's minus 0.38, folks. It's going up above sea level because we have a mountain down there. It's called the Ochre Mountains. So below the Ochre Mountains, at the near the bottom of the mountain, it's still above sea level. We're getting earthquakes, a minus 0.3, 1.09. Actually, this is minus 0.38, I should say. Okay, minus 0.38. 1.04, 0.02, Northwest Valley, West Valley, Utah. This is, of course, the West Valley Fault. That's where this earthquake hit, is the West Valley Fault. Okay, but look at the earthquakes continuing to hit going east, minus 0.15. Minus 0.15. Again, I'm going to take you here. This is just west of the highway interchange of Interstate 15 and Interstate 80. Interstate 80 goes east, okay? The earthquakes hit out here. I'll show you. This is Interstate 80 out here, and the earthquakes are hitting here. Interstate 80, they hit north of Interstate 80 here, okay? All right. Like I said, down here at that interchange of freeways is where this other earthquake hit in Salt Lake City, North Salt Lake City. Okay, it's north of where I am. I live in the south part of the valley. Okay, but here it is. And it continues to move east. The earthquakes are moving east. Okay. This is Interstate 15. Starts down in San Diego County and goes all the way up into Yellowstone area. Interstate 15. Okay. And that earthquake is right there. Interesting, huh? The earthquakes continue heading for the Wasatch Fault right here. Right here. It never ceases to surprise me. It just doesn't. Just doesn't. And then we have this one lone earthquake up north of Salt Lake City, North Salt Lake, at 2.17. And again, it's in the foothills, just west of the Wasatch, just west of the Wasatch. Here's the Wasatch. Here's the Wasatch. This is where that earthquake hit. Both of these, see how close it is to the Wasatch? This is where the epicenter was. The earthquakes are moving east towards the mountain, to the fault. It's going to be interesting to see where this ends. And I shouldn't use the word ends. I shouldn't use that word. Okay, we got just a few minutes left here. I wanted to talk more about Cascadia, but there's not a lot to talk about because PNSN has not been reporting everything. They've been hiding quakes, and so is Caltech. I'm hoping everything will be back online tomorrow so we can see more Cascadia stuff. And tomorrow I'm hoping to show you more Cascadia earthquakes. That's what I'm hoping. Okay. Like I said, I'm really disappointed. I'm so very disappointed in what has been going on. It's hard for me to sit here and see what is happening when I know it could be different. And they could be honest about the earthquakes, but they're not. They're just not. So anyway, up in Idaho, I don't know why that did that. Hold on a second. Just had a video start playing. I didn't want that to happen yet. Okay. Sorry about that. Northern or western Idaho, Chalice, Idaho area, right here, we've been having avalanches. Avalanches right at the epicenter of the earthquake. There's snow there, and we're having avalanches now. And we're still having a lot of earthquakes. Yes, guess what happens when you have a 6.7 earthquake? You have a lot of aftershocks, and that's still going on. 2.7, 2.5, 2.94 on the north side. There's a lot of them. There's a good sized swarm there. Yellowstone. Well, actually, let me first, before we go to Yellowstone, Idaho City, southwest of Chalice. Idaho City got a quake today. And Idaho City doesn't see much. Doesn't see much of anything. But we had a 2.8 near Idaho City. Idaho City here, southwest of the earthquakes there. Going over to Yellowstone. Northern part of the Yellowstone magma chamber, Pablo, Montana, 0.25. Southeast of there, we have a 0.56. Dog, I don't want to open. Lincoln, Montana, 0.56. We go down towards Yellowstone, Dillon, Montana, 0.59. Southeast, Virginia City, Montana, 1.01. Over here in West Yellowstone, in the park, a 0.23. Just east of there also, in West Yellowstone, a 0.21 in the park. Now, this isn't all the earthquakes. We know that. You'll have to listen to Mary Greeley, and believe me, Mary has a story to tell. And I called Mary Sunday morning and we said hi, or I said hi, left a message on her answering machine. She hasn't called me back. And again, she's someone else I'll probably call tomorrow morning again. Mary's a great lady. She has great information, and she is an expert when it comes to the volcano at West Yellowstone. We can't trust the yo-yos at USGS, at the Yellowstone Volcanic Observatory, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway, folks, that's what's going on. We need to get off the air so we can let someone else finish the evening out here on the Freedom Revolution Network. We're going to try to do a show in a little bit over on the Emergency Management Associates channel over on YouTube. We hope to see you there. We appreciate you joining us here at the Freedom Revolution Network. We've covered a lot of ground in the past 2 hours. We appreciate you being here. God bless. Do know that we love you, and we'll be back tonight if anything more happens. Until then, as Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. Monday, April 6th, 2020. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler. Have a great night, folks. I don't know why this is. Now it doesn't want to work. It worked just a minute ago. Gosh. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you a little bit later.